Good morning, everyone. I was looking through TikToks, and it seems there's a lot of amillennial, post-millennial people that are doing their dead level best to disprove a premillennial rapture. My question would be, why? If you don't believe in a rapture, that's fine. I know where the people get that idea from. It's inaccurate, but I understand where they get it from. I'm not sure they do. One young man mentioned the treaties being signed recently between Bahrain and UAE that people in earlier times wouldn't have recognized it. Well, and he's right to a point, but what most every one of these post-millennial, amillennial types fail to take into account is if we right now jump 100 years backwards in time, there's a key ingredient that's missing in their prophetic studies. And all of the 19th century preachers that they build their cases on would have suffered from this same handicap. And that is that in 1920, Israel didn't exist. It wasn't a nation. So for somebody to make a peace treaty with Israel, like Daniel says, people have to come up with different theories and different ideas as to how this can be accomplished, because they don't exist. So, when you say, yeah, they wouldn't have understood it, yeah, you're right, they wouldn't have understood it. Did the UAE exist? No, the UAE did not exist. Not like we know it now. So to say, they wouldn't have recognized it. Well, if you read Daniel closely, Daniel didn't recognize what he was shown by God. Gabriel had to show it to him and explain it to him. But did the people that the prophecy came to, did they actually see a four-winged leopard? No, they saw the Greek Empire. Did they actually see a bear with a rib in its mouth? No, they saw the Medes and the Persians. Did they actually see a great statue with clay feet, iron teeth, and all that other nonsense? No, they didn't see any of that. They saw the Roman Empire. Okay? So those are symbolic representations of earthly things, okay? It doesn't make them any less real or any less true. So to say that they wouldn't recognize things, you're right to a point. You have stretched that idea beyond its usefulness when you fail to take into account that Israel didn't come into existence until 1948 after being destroyed by the Romans in 70 AD. So when you learn to take that into account and understand that your theology that you believe as a millennial, post-millennial, whatever you call yourself, comes from the church father Augustine and was further edited and revamped by John Calvin and brought down through the 19th century. Of course you're gonna see those things, because Israel didn't exist in Augustine's time, and Jews were considered the enemies of Christians for a long time because they killed Jesus, and they had persecuted the church for almost 200 years. So if you don't know church history and you don't study church history, all of these things are going to be missing, and you're not going to put the scriptures together correctly. Okay? So when you take into account Israel coming back into existence, just like Jesus said they would, Zechariah 12:10, how does Israel, the people who killed Jesus, how do they see him and mourn him? Zechariah 12:10 tells you exactly how that happens. God says, I'll pour out my spirit on them, and they see, and then they mourn and all this other stuff. So Revelation 1:7 comes true in Zechariah 12:10. You have to understand all these things. And this premillennial position is not new. That is absolutely false. You need to read the Church Father Irenaeus, book 5. I'm going to put it in this video so you can see it for yourself. This is the book the early church fathers collection. Ante-Nicene. Anti means pre. Okay, so it's before the Council of Nicaea. This is Irenaeus, and you can pause the screen right here, read this for yourself. But if you look down at the bottom, the last three sentences in this particular section, it says, "And therefore, when in the end the church shall be suddenly caught up from this, it is said, there shall be tribulation such as has not been since the beginning, neither shall be. For this is the last contest of the righteous, in which they overcome, and they are crowned with incorruption." So what you're seeing is Irenaeus telling you the tribulation comes after the rapture. And this is, I think this is about 170 AD. I'll have to check, make sure the date.